are playing. Rules were there that rotation was supposed to be done for players, and some of the coaches, as we gathered, were more interested in performance, not trying to rotate, only looking at not looking at the development of the players. We can take care of, but this is another finding. Also, GFDC and GFA to discuss how GFDC can participate in GFA competitions in the future. And the action to be taken is by GFDC and GFA to have discussions, and I hope that will happen, and the boys will get a chance to go further. When it comes to professional clubs, any questions which the GFDC center or anyone from the crowd which you have in your mind can go forward, please.
Check.
So I would like to know the qualification for the assistant director.
Assistant technical director?
Yeah.
It should be, if we have a technical director who has got a pro, he should be at least a A, because we are not only taking him, we are preparing him. If the technical director leaves, he should be taking up the responsibility.
Thank you.
Jalmi किधर है? Jalmi.
Clubs should step out for connect with the community, and there is engagement of fans that want to support the teams and stadiums. So what you have not discussed that, no?
This topic is going to come next.
Okay.
Previous slide. Yes. So his point was on professional clubs.
Okay.
Not yet.
We are just waiting for it.
Coaches, I request you, sir, Savio is there. There's a lot of findings that has come up over here. If you all would like to put down your points as well, something that could be included, this is the right opportunity for you all. Coaches. Yeah, once again.
Sir, why can't we have inter-center matches every Saturday between the closest centers?
That is what our recommendation is to Franklin, as I was just saying, when he explained to us before COVID, the inter-center tournaments which you are having, to revive it back. That is what we have recommended, and Franklin will take it up to the management and hope it gets revived back again.
Yes, it is, you're talking is of the tournament, but regular practice is there. Now we practice for 5 days. On Saturdays at least we can go to the other center and play friendly matches.
I think the call has to be taken by the GFDC center, because every Saturday if you want to play with another center, the costs will be included. So I think if the budget is there, I think that would be the best, Frankie, what you have suggested.
So regarding the recommendations that you have given for festival tournaments, I would like to say that if GFDC and GFA together, have these groups and then take them out of the state. So we have a state exposure also.
First of all, we will try to see this thing is sorted out between GFA and GFDC. And once that is done, I think that would be better. But I think a valid point what you have, the moment they go out of the state, it will always help them to understand and to try to get better. to play competitions.
Check, check, check.
Sir, okay, as we spoke about upgradation. So we have D licenses. Tomorrow we have to upgrade to C or maybe C to B. A B license coach should be coaching the grassroots, because when you have B, we get even opportunities to coach for pro league as assistant. And why we should be here at GFDC? I'm just asking.
Yeah, good question. But what we have recommended for Franklin in our findings, in our recommendations, now if GFDC tries to fund you in your license, you have to have a bond of at least 3 years with them. You just cannot leave and go where they are trying to put some money on you, and after 3 years, if you have an offer, why not you leave for a better position? That is fine. But at least see that you upgrade yourselves, especially those who are at D, and that will be taken care by the GFDC. And once they are doing it for you, I think it's fair enough to see that at least you stay 2 or 3 years with them. And then if there is a chance for you, if you get a higher package, why not leave GFDC and go for higher? Completely agree.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good
Sir,
evening.
I had a question with regard to the upgrade of license. Now, according to the provisions of GFDC, there's a provision from D to C, C to B, and B to A. But when we have down our goalkeeper level 1 license, now that is also a upgradation, because we have gone through a test, we have gone through a course, but there's no provision for goalkeepers level when we upgrade for goalkeepers. So our salary structure remains the same, although we have upgraded to a goalkeeper level 1 license. So that, if something could be done with regard to that, because for us, even that we consider as our upgradation. And second point, sir, with regard to, we are paid on hourly basis. So when the structure of the salary is changed, if we can be put into a contractual basis, so what happens, it could benefit both ways. It could benefit the GFDC and or us, because we are under contract, and instead of paying hourly. If that could be done, I mean, the technicalities of that could be looked up to how it will be done, whether it is hours or in a year, how the contract is renewed. I wouldn't know that right now, but it could benefit the coaches in a long run, I feel.
The hourly payment which was there, which we have discussed, which is not right according to what we have discussed. Because we coaches are also not to be respected only for the hour which you are working for. So we have discussed that, and Franklin will take it up. We will try to see that you get a monthly salary according to what you have been paid. But Franklin, if you can note down what he has got a valid point for goalkeeping level 1 to level 2, if there is no salary structure which is there for the other licenses, then it's not right. So we will try to put it across. Just note it down. Yeah, we have noted it down. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
For your recommendation.
Coaches, any more questions?
So, in case any coach who is going to participate in nationals and all, then what should be the criteria to replace the coach at the center?
From the center where GFA has asked him to coach the youth team or national team, state team, you mean?
Yes.
I think you should be allowed, and maybe this point also, if he is allowed, as we have told them to incentivize the centers and the coach. If some player is being called for the youth camps, national camps, state teams, or they go for a higher in the future, I think that also should be taken care of. Okay. And something extra should be given for the coach, because of your quality of your coaching, the state is asking you to come and coach the state team. So that will be surely taken care of.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And also regarding the goalkeeping coaches. Now earlier, a goalkeeper coach used to travel whole north or whole south. So what about that? Because the goalkeeping, the department of goalkeeping is, I think, neglected.
Yes. So Jenny, you note down, we will also try to recommend for the future coaches which have been taken in, if we can look for more goalkeeping coaches, so at least we have 4-5 in the north, 4-5 in the south, where they can move. It will be much better rather than having one and to look out of all the centers, not possible. So another recommendation which we will try to put besides the one goalkeeping level structure, we will also try to put in the recommendations with GFDC management. Thank you, Frankie. Any more questions? Can we go forward? Yes, sir. Thank you. So we come to professional clubs, the second session of the day yesterday, and the topic was changes in the football landscapes, problems faced, threats and expectations. The moderator was Marcus, and the panel was with Mr. Srinivas Dempo, Dr. from Dempo, Dr. Sagar Salgaonkar from Gino. We had Vikram Salgaonkar from Club de Salgaonkar and Ravi Pushkar from FC Goa. So after good deliberations, the findings were the government infrastructure cost for hosting matches and practices at all levels is very high. And it came to a point where we came to say that Goa is having much better infrastructure than compared to the other states. But what is keeping it away are the costs of the grounds and the infrastructure what we have. So that was one of the finding, and recommendations goes to them to reduce the infrastructure costs so that it can be used, especially to clubs promoting football at youth and grassroots. So that is what is our recommendation which we are trying to put to the government. The next finding, what in this session, fans don't have a connect with the clubs despite their achievements and don't turn up for matches. You must have seen yesterday when the question was put by Marcus to Baba, and one point which Ravi had mentioned, now a PEX supporter going all the way to Duler, it's a challenge because to go and come back. But Baba gave a point earlier which even a fan from Bicholi used to come and watch their games in Salsit. But times are changing and we can't go according to what we had. So the findings, how to connect with the clubs, the fans, the recommendations were clubs should step out and connect with the community now, which also Mr. Srinivas Dempo agreed that we have to do a little bit more connect with the community. Unless there is engagement, fans won't show up and support the teams at stadiums or grounds. A stronger connect is needed. So that is what was the finding among the panelists, and this was the recommendation which we are going to put across. The third one was the finding, over 20% of the stadium capacity tickets are given as complimentary. And not even 5% of the ticket holders turn up at the stadium. As we all know, matches are there, we ask with friends, we ask with somebody, can we get matches? But it's very sad and shameful that we don't even attend matches when we get free. So the recommendations are reduce the complimentary tickets, follow the international patterns where the number of free passes is minimal. So when the passes are minimum, and if you are really wanting to go to the stadium to watch the match, you are bound to buy a ticket and go for the match. So that is one of the finding recommendations what we have given. The fourth one was despite social media growing at an alarming rate and having a major influence on people's lives, Goan clubs have been slow to use of it. And the recommendation is clubs should put social media to better use and connect with its fans spread all over. The discussion was yesterday about how you can connect with handles of Instagram, then Twitter, which is changed to, and this is what is the finding what we are coming up with. Another finding which was done is many fans find the match timings inconvenient due to inadequate public transport and office work hours. And if you see the timings of ISL, it is starting at 7:30. People coming from far can find it difficult, but our recommendations are preferably have the matches on weekends and not on a weekly basis. That is what is the recommendation, which we will see how far it is going to be. The last one in this was finding, as pointed out by FC Goa, they are being charged a very high amount for usage of Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium, where they host their home matches, while places like Odisha, Northeast, Bengal, Hyderabad, others are giving the grounds for free at times or subsidized rates. This leads to high cost of tickets in Goa because all of us are complaining the ticket prices are very, very high in Goa. But FC Goa has to spend about more than 45 lakhs in a match to host. So imagine how are they going to go ahead with if every time they have to spend so much of money. So the recommendation is FC Goa should not be treated as a purely commercial club as they are incurring heavy losses at present. They are the only club from Goa in the Indian Super League, which is officially the top tier league in India. So recommendation is, can the rates of the stadium hosting matches be subsidized? And if that can be done, FC Goa is surely going to see that the rates, ticket rates are also being taken care of. Now, any more questions which you have on professional clubs? I think Inas, you had one.
Check.
So mine is a suggestion. Like we go to see last 3 months, there were so many inter-village tournaments. If you go to see now recently we have gold silver trophy at Naveli. There were nearly 5,000 spectators. If you go to see Girdoli, Chandor, there also for the semi-finals itself, there were nearly 3,000 spectators. If you go to see Raya Sporting Club tournaments, there were nearly 10,000 spectators. So my suggestion is that you all should, get them, the organizers, one meeting, like what they are doing to get the spectators there. And the professional teams or the clubs, what I'm saying, we should have the home matches on their particular grounds, or the home team should play on their ground. So that is my suggestion as such. Thank you.
GFA has tried their best by opening up the gates, by keeping matches free for Bandorkar, and whatever league matches also are happening. But it's surprising that even after the gates being open, crowds are not coming, which we all know, which whatever you said, Inas, is very true, because why inter-village? So one thing what we had discussed was inter-village can be more because locals are playing, their whole family is trying to go, their neighborhood is trying to go. That is what, if you remember, I think if I can recollect, Baba had mentioned why Dempo, Salgaonkar, why not Mapsa, why not play in the name of the villages? That is what was his, one of the suggestions what he has got, and your suggestion is right, because when we get people storming to see games in inter-village, why not here, even when the gates are open? So only one reason what I can feel, as I just said, because they are locals, their families come, their friends come, and that is how the crowds are there for inter-village tournaments.
So can I move to the second clip? Yeah, the media.
Social media.
Yes, yes. Now regarding social media, on the social media you will get only the news of ISL going everywhere. In Goa, if you ask a boy or a girl from a village, do you know how many matches are being played in Goa every day? They don't know because they read the Marathi newspapers and they do not display, as we get in Herald or Navin, today's sports. It is not displayed in these newspapers. So we have to reach to the farthest corner of each and every part of Goa. Every day we have an inter-village match. The children don't know. What is this? They ask. So to be aware, I think the other newspapers also should print. Maybe it is inter-village match, maybe it is age group match, maybe it is GPL. All these things should be displayed. Media is not covering. Then they come to the coaches and ask, is there any selection? We ask them, why don't you read the newspapers? The Marathi newspapers don't display this. So they do not know about it.
You mean in the print media, only the English papers try to carry this?
Yes.
The other mediums don't. So
No,
we will
they
try to
only portray the big clubs.
Okay. So we'll try to make a note of it and suggest it so that it comes there. But this social media of Instagram and all, if each club tries to do it on their own, I think that would be much, much better and much more valued in the future. But we will take your point, Frankie, and we will try to recommend it.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Also, yes, as we speak about this 20% tickets which are given as complimentary. Now, as we know, inter-village clubs are more connected to people. Okay, why can't we provide this 20%, taking good intermediaries and providing it to the clubs? When these small clubs, inter-village clubs, show participation in this tickets and all, automatically they will pull around the other people who are connected with the clubs. See, what happens is, I'm not saying that, FC Goa owners will go and give the tickets to the people. There may be intermediaries who are giving it to, but who are these intermediaries? Are they connecting to the right people? Are we getting those 20% tickets to the right people? What if these 20% tickets are being provided with the right intermediaries to the right clubs? Take it as inter-villages only. Or for example, if we are providing these 20% tickets to our GFDC centers near kids, maybe they will have more interest in going to the matches. Maybe we can even provide transport for them to go for these matches. What about that?
Yes, I mean, the tickets that are sort of distributed as complimentary tickets are actually given, I don't know whether you're even aware, there's a policy where the club owner, when Dr. Kaitana was elected as the president of the GFA, we pledged that every club in the state, which is registered with the GFA as a professional, amateur, or whatever it is, they're given, and each club is given 3 tickets. So we do give them, so we give it to the right people, right? But beyond that, there are also other elements, right? We also have to get permissions, etc. and everything. It also has to go to government offices, government officials, and other people as well. Now, we cannot say no to them because we're also using their infrastructure. So, and honestly, the point is not whether who we give these 20% to. I think the important thing is what it says at the bottom, but we should reduce that 20%.
No, since it was 5% people are coming, that's the reason I put up this point. Why not give it to those who are actually willing to come? Maybe it is 20% or whatever percent.
Yeah.
I just hope that it goes to the right people who
No,
are
our intention is
willing.
to take out the 20%. Why should it be 20%? Why should it not be only 5% that goes out in complimentary? 5% should go to the people who are paying to be a sponsor of the club and so forth, because they're paying for those tickets in an indirect way. So they should. But why should everything else be complimentary?
No, not just complimentary. I'm just saying, since they do not turn up, that's why. It's
No,
FC Goa is gracious enough to give 20%, I would say.
No, we don't want to be that gracious to give out 20%. We want to bring that down. That's the whole point, that we want to bring it down to 5%.
Okay, but then
That's
again,
our entire point. We don't.
So this 20%, Ravi, can I take it a little bit?
Sure, sure.
Yeah, this 20% you are talking about for village clubs, every club should get, you mean?
No, not every club. Whatever, even if it is 5% also, why not give it to those clubs or who are interested, who will literally turn up in the stadiums?
Yeah, you
to
cannot
see.
say who's going to turn up, but according to GFA, every club gets 3 tickets which are there. And it cannot go more than that. Then how are they going to survive? If it is 5% for every club, we have more than 100 clubs in Goa registered.
Not every club. Even if they're providing it for 5% also, with the right intermediaries, let these tickets go to the right people.
Right.
That's what
So
my
we
question.
give GFA close to about 500, 550 tickets, right? For the number of clubs that there are, right? You're saying that they would all turn up, correct? The redemption rate for that is not more than 55%, 60%. So I am giving it to a football-loving audience who are invested in the sport, who play the sport, who also conduct the sport. And even then, they're not showing up. Because giving it to the person with the right intention is there, the person receiving it is there with the right intention, but sometimes they might pass it on to somebody else who's not interested. The problem is, because that ticket is free of cost, it is a piece of paper. When you pay for that, then that has a value against it. Even if the value is 10 rupees, it's still a value, right? So when you put money down from your own pocket for some service, you will ensure you get complete service for that. If I give you a piece of paper, which is also the ticket, then you're like, it's a piece of paper, I can throw it away, it holds no value.
Okay, what if we try it with our centers, GFDC centers, providing kids? Just a shot. Let's give it a shot and see.
No, I think what he's trying to say is that you're okay with saying that you're giving it to the GFA guys. If they are not turning up, that's what he's trying to say. In the sense, if they are not turning up, don't give them the ticket next time. Make sure you go and give it to somebody else who will actually turn up. So I think maybe what he's trying to say is you should have a more effective way of tracking the free tickets, implementing a kind of a ban on the people who are not turning up, and then making sure that, you know, like he said,
Yes,
give it to
yes.
somebody else, that person turns up, you're getting your crowd, and that will pull in further crowd. You bring it down to 5%. I don't think he's objecting to that. But the tracking mechanism of making sure that if you're giving out a ticket, get a crowd in, that's what he's trying to say.
Exactly.
I mean, it's very difficult to track. I get what you're saying, but it's very difficult to track because I might buy the ticket, but I might not attend the match myself, right? I might give it to Pradyum or I might give it to Patwin. Now, how do you, say as the person who's issued the ticket, figure out which one of them is turning up or whether I bought it, whether I'm turning up, right? So each one will use the ticket in the way that they feel necessary to use the best. So it's very difficult to track who's showing up and who's not. I can know the percentages, but I won't know. So I'm giving 300 or 600 tickets. People will come and collect it. Now, how do you know which of those 600 showed up and which ones didn't?
Yeah, no, maybe something like the ISL media accreditation. We give our names, they take our attendance. So the same way, if you're giving out the name, tell who you're giving it to. That person has to come in somehow. See, it might be a little bit of an inconvenience initially, but once you get your crowd, then you don't need to bother about it, and then you can go lax.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but it's very tough to implement because the volumes are high. Like media accreditation is 30 people. Here we're talking about close to, I mean, 20% of the stadium capacity is talking close to.
Down to 5.
My intention is 5. Ideally, I would like it to be 0, but we have to do something.
So give us the 5.
Can we go ahead? Any more questions on professional clubs? Or can we move ahead? Okay. We go next to amateur clubs. That was the third topic of the day. And the topic was changes in football landscape, problems faced, threats and expectations. The moderator was Sir Albert Culasso. The panelists were from Kalangut Association, Dr. Anthony Lobo. From Garden Angel Sports Club was John C. Fernandez. From Goa Valley Sports Club was Agnel Fernandez. And Navali Sporting and Salset FC was Schubert Furtado. So the findings, once the discussion was finished yesterday and today when we were doing the finding and the recommendations, the finding was as the Goa League is played during the monsoon, the only stadium where matches can be played is the GFA Stadium. And that too in Duler in Mapsa. For clubs like Garden Angel and others from South Goa, that involves a lot of travel. The recommendation was, if the government, along with SG, should build at least 2 artificial turf grounds in the north and south with proper facilities like dressing room and the sitting capacity. And proper artificial grounds, we are talking about proper football stadiums, no track or anything. So that the stadium is compact. That is what is the recommendation which we are going to give to the government, which will see that the travel is cut down from south to north, north to south. And the action has to be taken by SG. The next finding was many clubs who have been doing a lot of work for many years at the grassroots and youth level are training on their own and face the problem of not having proper coaches. The recommendation is GFDC centers, if they can tie up with local clubs and schools to provide the necessary technical and financial support. That is a recommendation which we have put. Don't know how far we can go ahead with that and whether it will be action against to be taken by GFDC. The third one was very few new players are coming up as they are losing interest in the game due to other easily available entertainment options. And the recommendations given are school headmasters and authorities doing along with the parents should try to impress on the young children that social media and health benefits of practicing sports regularly. It's a big challenge with the parents, big challenge with the a big challenge for coaches because we can't see much of the kids coming on the field, but that is what is one of the recommendations what we are giving. The fourth point was in finding due to increase in the clubs at all levels, the number of matches have increased and quality has been compromised. And the recommendation is there should be a temporary moratorium on affiliation to new clubs and GFA should review the performance of the existing clubs. What has happened of late is because GFA is encouraging clubs to come, especially at a younger youth groups, 13, 15. There are village clubs who are coming, which is good to increase participation, but is there enough quality in that? That is what it means because some of the teams are being battered by 6-0, 7-0, 8-0. And we are thinking about not only about the result, but we are thinking about the confidence of the boy who has lost badly. Is he good enough? Will he be good enough to come and play the next day? So that is what is the recommendation for GFA to see if the new clubs are being not given more affiliation and should check on the existing clubs and their performance. Officials, another finding, officials of many clubs due to continued presence in their managing committees have become lethargic, staying at the clubs for too long, taking everything for granted. And the recommendation is clubs should rotate their officials regularly and approach competent people in the locality to support the clubs, particularly in new technology and social media. Get younger blood inside, keep rotating so that new ideas do come from the younger generation which do come in. Another point finding which was discussed, clubs are always looking for funds for their activities. Recommendation is clubs should be in the active register of SAG so that they can avail of grants and other facilities. Some clubs, they are lacking and they don't know that there are a lot of grants which are available with the sports authority, but try to see that, go through the rules and try to avail of these facilities which are there. Before we go further, any questions on amateur clubs, on the recommendations and the findings?
Check.
So can we go to the earlier clip? Before that? Yes. Now regarding, do we really want football to be spread all over Goa or to be concentrated only in pockets of Salsette and Bardez?
For me, all over Goa.
Yes, so we should have stadiums in Ponda Taluka, one which can be used as a neutral venue. Then other talukas are also there where there are no stadiums.
If we
there are always matches in Duler and in the south. But in Ponda, there are no matches at all. We cannot hold matches also. That time, the GFA can have a neutral venue for the teams. So why don't they build stadiums all over Goa?
So for the moment, we don't know whether this is going to be accepted. For the moment, we recommended only 2 and not to differentiate between talukas, not to differentiate between anywhere. But this is a recommendation which we have put, whether not knowing whether it will happen or not. Once this happens, maybe we can also put there.
Yeah, our sports minister is from Ponda. I have already told him about this.
Told
to
whom
have
about
a ground
it?
in Ponda.
Told whom about it?
So our sports minister.
There you come, sports minister and no football ground.
We want a football ground. So only through sports minister's recommendation we can have a ground in Ponda. And
No, you have a football ground.
Yes.
So you still want one more?
We don't have a football ground.
You don't have?
We don't have. So we want one.
Okay. So the meeting what you had with the sports minister, what was the discussion?
No, I was not there for that discussion.
Okay, let's keep it. Let's keep it away. Okay, we'll take your suggestion, Frankie. Any more questions?
Sir.
Regarding the GFDC tying up with the GFDC tying up with the clubs, I think there should be a MOU signed between whether GFA first of all accepts GFDC to be tied up with the GFDC.
The club is already registered with GFA. So there is no much thing which you have to do, and GFDC can involve themselves.
No, I think there should be some MOU signed between the club and the GFDC center or something like that.
Yeah, that you can discuss.
Sure.
But since the club is already registered, affiliated by GFA, the discussions between GFDC center and the club can be done, and something you all can work it out.
But you have mentioned only GFDC. I'm saying if GFA also has to be, because in their AGM they may just discard that. It has to be
discard who? The clubs?
I mean, GFA clubs are the members are there in their AGM.
Okay.
They may just discard GFDC because long time
No, that
we
is
had
what
this
is-
problem.
In the previous one, we have discussed that there should be discussion between GFDC and GFA. That is what we are recommending, and I hope, we all hope here, that both these bodies come together for the development of the game. Can we go further? Okay. So the player's perspective was the fourth topic of the day, and the moderator was Lecter Mascarenes. The panel was all ex-players, Bevan Di Mello, Keenan Almeida, Denzel Franco, and Brahmanand Shankwalkar. The finding was, after finishing their football playing days, many players are unemployed and facing financial hardships, which we have seen so many. And the recommendations what we have, players should look for post-retirement football-related careers, like one is coaching, refereeing, administration, physical training during their playing careers itself. Yesterday, if you remember in the first session, Derek had brought a point that he came into coach education only after his retirement, which was too late. So we are recommending that during the playing career, if they can start going through their batches, I think by the time they retire, they have already a career pathway. So that would be very, very good for, and there are many which can be chosen. The second point, which is a recommendation, government to provide employment opportunities to retired players and to fill up the sports quotas in government departments. There are quotas which are supposed to be there, I think 4% or something in the government, so that GFDC, if they can try to see who are the ones who are really needed and fill up those posts which are there in sports quotas. Players should also be aware of job opportunities in central government institutions like customs and central excise. And we have a very good example where the moderator himself was there, superintendent of customs. So I think Lecter can give them some tips to be there. Right, Lecter? The other job quotas for players who win national level competitions at the senior level and represent the country, which is one more recommendation, which would help the players after their playing career. They have something to look for, and to avail of skill development opportunities provided by private and government sectors. This point was brought up by Franklin, where there are so many skill development opportunities are there. If we can introduce it to the coaches, to the players when they are playing, so that they know that once I am retired out of the game, there is something for me to look for. The other finding which we came is most of the present GFDC administrators are currently gainfully employed and do not have time to administer their centers, where the staff is not big enough. So recommendations are there. GFDC should appoint former local players and administrators, if you can, which gives them also an opportunity to see for a job and to look for their careers in the future. The next, before we go further, any questions on players' perspective?
Coaches, any questions on players' perspective? Especially the people who have been players and have the experience playing. So any questions from your side? Marcos? Rafiq?
Okay, no questions. Can we go further, Lovejoy?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Hanslam.
Okay, sir, as we said, some players before, now they are having opportunities or maybe having into coaching, refereeing, administration, physical, and so on. My point is, now they'll be working in as a coach or a referee for many years, maybe 5, 6. Okay, my friend over here, he has been working in GFDC for the last 10 years. But still, I don't feel he has a security in his job. So at some point, don't we feel that they must have a permanent kind of a security? Because football is a very long way or long process. So coaches as such should get some permanent security in their jobs. Because if they have, maybe they'll try to give more extra effort in it.
I think the call will be taken by GFDC, which we will try to recommend them whether they are going to be permanent or whether, frankly, you want to answer that?
Yeah, because at the end, they were players before. And at some point, they have become some maybe coaches, referee, and so on.
Because I would leave it to GFDC for them to decide, and that would be the recommendation or suggestion which I would give, and he had noted it down already.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Any more? Okay, so we go to Intervillage, the 5th topic of the day, and the topic was about intervillage football tournaments and their role in keeping football passion alive at grassroots level, and what more can be done in the present scenario. The moderator was Patwin Fizardo. The panel was from Raya Sporting Club. It was Francisco Cardozo. From Chandor Club, Joy De Silva. From Benaulim, it was Anthony Rodriguez. And from Sioli Marna, it was John Pereira. So the finding was most of the matches do not start on time, with teams playing each half of less than 35 minutes, thereby significantly reducing the playing time. Our recommendation to GFA is, GFA has to ensure that matches start on time so that each half is at least of 35 minutes. When I was there in the technical committee, I had suggested, if you see in a top international match, the ball in play is round about 50 or 60 minutes for a game of 90 minutes. And when we have in the intervillage, one half of 25 and one half of 20, we don't know whether it's because of the referees start late, whether it's because of the players. And if by chance one team scores a goal, the ball is kicked out most of the time. The player in a game in 90 minutes touches only 2 to 2.5 minutes. So if international level is at that extent, the players and the ball in play is only 50, 60 minutes. If you play a game of 45 minutes, 20 and 25, how our intervillage football is going to develop and develop players where we have grown playing intervillage tournaments? Big concern. So it's all, not only the GFA, it has to be the referees, it has to be the players, everybody come together so that at least we play 70 minutes of intervillage game. That has to be done. The next finding is players are seen skipping intervillage matches to play in open or unrecognized tournaments. The discussion was GFA should ensure that no player registered with them takes part in open tournaments. If anyone is found playing, strict action should be taken. There was some action taken in the last few years where players were suspended, they were asked to pay fines, the clubs were asked to pay fines. So I think GFA should act upon it. Why do players go to play open tournaments? Only because of money. And the inter-village is suffering, so I think that was one of the finding and recommendation what we have done. The third point was inter-ward tournaments have stopped in many villages. These tournaments previously provided a platform for budding players to showcase their talent and then move up. The recommendation are village clubs should be encouraged to conduct inter-ward tournaments on a regular basis, which gives a lot of chance for the youngsters in that particular village, in that particular ward, to take part and get better. The next one is quality of inter-village matches has dropped. Senior or retired players should be encouraged to obtain coaching licenses and take charge of village teams so that they can bring in some quality. A point to be debated, and it can go on for long, but just a recommendation is there. If there is somebody to guide, to mentor the young players, I think that would be a lot more better. The last finding is only one inter-club tournament is held at the moment. Only one inter-club tournament is held at the moment. So recommendation to GFA should look at the possibility of organizing more inter-club tournaments, particularly during pre-season, where the squad which is there can be rotated and the coach of the club can understand what is the playing combination, what he can get. So that is what we have recommended. Any questions on this topic before we move to the further? Can go further, Lovejoy?
Yes, sir. I don't think so. They have questions.
Here, Lovejoy.
We have inter-village tournaments, many are going on, but they are only for seniors. Why not our juniors can have it, maybe under 15 village tournament, under 13, any one?
Up to
Why
you.
not?
Up to you.
No.
This is just recommended because it is not being done. And if before under 15, if you can have an inter-ward tournament for the boys, that would also be a big boost, because at a younger level, if they get more matches to play, I think that would be.
Yes.
So it's all up to the club. If you want to do under 13, under 15, I think that would be a boost, added advantage, because they will get more number of matches.
No, not just as a club, but also why I'm saying inter-village, because when it comes to a club, maybe maybe we'll have boys from, okay, one is from Margaon, one from Benaulim, and maybe some different boys, because we select quality. But when it comes to inter-village, what will happen is, those boys from the village only be able to play. Maybe some are not that good, but there is a sure guarantee that they will get chance to play. At least that much is guaranteed.
Okay. So
because when it comes to clubs, what happens is, you may select one boy from there. You will make a good team, maybe under 18 or 15, 13. But when it comes to inter-village, you don't have a choice. If he's in that vicinity, you will have to make him play. So this way our kids will get the chance.
Yeah, I think good point, but still inter-village tournaments which are held, which cards from different zones are playing by showing them that you are staying there. But a good point which we can take forward. Okay?
Thank you.
The next one, topic number 6 was grassroots, youth football and academies. And the moderator was Pradyum Reddy. The panel was Luis Barreto of South Goa United, Melroy Maura from Cesar Goa, Nathaniel DiCosta, Fossa Foundation, Bruno Coutinho, our very own, and Francisco Nunes from Chicali. The finding was lack of competitions for younger age groups has hampered progress of the youngsters. And the recommendations which we gave are have more collaborations with all stakeholders to ensure more games and access to facilities. For sure, we know that when they are young, if they have more competition, which can develop our players into better decision-making players, which we are lacking. Another finding is GFDC inter-center tournaments previously held good opportunities for the players and coaches to showcase their skills, which we already discussed before. So revive the GFDC center tournaments that existed pre-COVID and ensure we have better scouts at this tournament so that any talented player does not escape attention. That is one more recommendation. Another finding was age group teams are identified and trained just a month or less before any national competition. So the recommendation to the states age group teams should train for a longer time and a month before the competition. Teams should be selected at the district level, which trains possibly once a week to start with all through the year. The next finding in this grassroots youth football and academies is it becomes difficult for clubs to organize competitions since the facilities are expensive. Clubs or private stakeholders shy away from organizing tournaments due to the higher cost. The recommendation are provide facilities for free or lower cost for youth teams to conduct tournaments. Clubs can also organize more competitions for lower age groups with GFA and SAG providing of possible help. Any questions before we go for the seventh topic?
Coaches, this is about grassroots, so I'm sure you all will have questions since you all are GFDC coaches.
So regarding the state age group team, in 2012, the GFA had organized a taluka level team. From there, they had a competition and then the state team was selected. If the same thing is continued, we can have a good state team at the age group. And that year, the team which was selected was a runners-up in under 15. And one of the boy was selected for
the national
Bajaj Alliance. No, Bajaj Alliance. They had taken him for an international tour. So same thing if JFA continues now, instead of having 1 month before prior selection, if we can start 2 or 3 months before taluka level or a zone level, which JFA has got 3 zones, we can have the teams in that way and can select the best team after playing matches.
I completely agree with you, Ramesh, and I remember when we were playing for Dr. B.C. Roy tournament in '83, we had 2 teams, one red and one blue in north and south, and that was done after selections and which continued up to the tournament, and we won the tournament in Goa, and recommendations have been given to GFA, and hope GFA tries to accept this suggestion and tries to go further. Thank you, Ramesh. Any more questions?
Sir.
Yep.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Since GFDC has stopped organizing tournaments for the kids, there are clubs associated.
Can hear.
There are clubs associated with the GFDC, which the clubs field their teams. If GFDC can help those trainees to participate in the GFA tournament, then it will be better, sir. So that kids also get an opportunity to play in the competition.
This is what has been discussed now. So GFA and GFDC will try to see how best GFDC can be included in the tournaments. If that is not the case, then the second point which you raised, GFDC can align with the clubs so that the boys are not only training, but trying to play competition also. That has been discussed. Point taken, and we will try to take it forward.
Hello. Hello. See, we are talking of organizing matches, but at present, the refereeing department, we are not getting referees. Now, practically, referees these days are officiating 3 to 4 matches a day. And then the quality also is down, and then to organize matches becomes a big problem. One thing we have to see the refereeing department so that more matches can be organized, since if there are referees. At Prudent, we are facing a big problem. No one is taking up refereeing. So if you don't have a referee, difficult to have a match.
So you mean there are no younger generation which is coming
taking
to
up
pick up
the
referees?
referees.
Okay. So the point for GFA, Prudent, to see that you have more referees now. Thank you, Ozzy.
Then regarding grassroots, another recommendation which I can't find here, say the kids till the primary, they are say from 6 to 8, 9, they are in the primary. Now the primary schools, they don't have a PE teacher. There is no one to take care of them. If a PE teacher is appointed or in clusters and some balls are thrown on the ground, they'll start playing football. And since football is the state team, I think that subject, at least for the lower classes, has to be compulsory. So the moment more people, now, if parents are free, we'll take the boy to the ground. But if a coach comes to the school, you have boys ready in the school.
I think this point was discussed by Derek, if you remember yesterday, when John had called him and told him regarding PE teachers. At the moment, PE teachers are very well pressed by looking at all the disciplines. If he or she is a football one, which can be used. If not, there are big challenges for PE teachers to look after that. And I completely agree with your point as well, because they, at that particular age group, nobody is trying to take care of them. And if we have, when FC Goa is trying to have their little Gauze League, I think most of the GFDC students who are there in the centers which they have their league are participating. But if it is done in the school, there is nothing like it. So which we will try to put up your point.
So another question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So in the age group competition, in the under 13, under 15, under 17, in the division 1 we have lot of matches, but in the division 2 the number of matches are very less. So it affects the development of a child who is playing in the division 2. And it is not that we are getting good players from the division 1 only. So there are good players playing in the division 2 also. Like we had 2 players who were playing in division 2 in our team last year. So those 2 players were selected for Dempo. And then they went on to play, they are selected for Bayern Munich, that tournament is there, they are selected there. And last year they played only 4 matches in the division 2. So it affects the development of the players who are playing in the division 2. So the number of matches, if we could increase, it will help in the development of the players. Ultimately, they are also the players who have potential and who can go on to the higher divisions.
Yes, the idea of having 2 divisions from GFA was to see that not to have 1 division and to have all the teams, and some teams who are not very, very competitive and get lost by, as I was just talking. If my Sporting got lost in under 13 8-1, but there are separate. But there are teams which lose badly. So that was the reason what we were looking, GFA is looking at, to build a platform for them and then to take them to tier 1. You are completely right, Johnson, when you're saying tier 1 also teams are not good. Completely agree. So now the introspection has to go on, and we will try to see which are the ones, because at that level we don't want only the matches to be played, we want the matches to be competitive. We don't want big scores, because it throws down the confidence of the boy or a girl completely low, and the moment the boy or the girl goes home, the first question the parents ask, what happened to the match? And if the boy or a girl says, we lost 7-0, 5-0, the parents not knowing about the game, why do you go? You better sit at home. So keeping that in mind, I think that was the idea of having 2 tiers and not to have more separate things. But right now, what GFA has to introspect is, after the first tier matches are over, are they good enough, or are there some to be brought down, so the second tier also get enough number of matches? That is what we will be discussing with GFA to look into. Johnson.
Yes, sir, that was my point. Like, if we could have more matches in the tier 2, the players will also get a competitive environment, and they will get, they actually require more matches in the tier 2. I can understand GFA's point also because some of the village clubs, they don't want to play more number of matches. They want to play just 5 or 6 matches and finish it off because they have some financial issues. That is also a big problem.
In tier 1, 14 teams has to be there because it is the criteria of GFA to see every GPL team has to have 13 and 15. So 14 matches are teams are gone there. So still 3 more teams are there besides this 14. So in the second tier and in the first year, after the competition gets over, I think introspection has to be done and then have see that second tier also gets enough number. But if you go to see, we are also asking GFA not to affiliate more teams so that at that level they don't get killed with the results what are happening and the confidence go down. So it's a balance what GFA has to look for, to look at the development and the results what are happening at the moment. Johnson, okay?
So regarding the primary schools, they don't have PE teachers cannot maybe teach football. So I would say like if GFDC provides some small incentive to the coaches who are there and who can go to the schools, maybe our coaches will be able to train the little boy, encourage them to take football.
I think there is one thing what the GPL clubs used to do before, few clubs used to do is adopt schools. And when you adopt schools, you tell the school that we adopt this school to help you to coach the players from our certified coach. Of late, which is not happening. But we will try to recommend GFDC if their coaches can come and help the schools where the PE teacher, sir or a teacher who is not very competent in the game, I think that would be much better. We will try to do that.
So coming to the Division 2 matches, if they are playing very few matches, so why don't we conduct the Division 2 matches and after finishing, let's start with the first division for the age group. So the players who have played in the second division, let them get promoted or play for the first division teams.
So if you bring these players, the players who are in the first division, they will go off again.
No, sir, the talented player like Johnson has brought to the notice, the good talented players, some of the villages, what they do, they want to make them play in the lower division. So they are talented. If we finish the second division first and then start with the second division, we can promote those same
So
players.
in the first division, you will have talented players, not all.
Not all, sir. Because
some of them will not be.
Yes, sir.
So in the second division, once they finish, you take the talented players, talent versus talent, and the one which was there in the first division, you are not allowing them to play.
No, but sir, to get the level at a higher level, if the talented players are not getting the opportunity, they are playing just 2 or 3 matches. Some teams have just 1 or 2 players who are playing good, and the team is just put just because of them. So if those talented players can be promoted to the first division, that will benefit for them, and they will get more number of matches also.
For only the talented one. What about not the talented one?
They are already playing, no sir. They are getting the chance in the second division. Let them play.
So the talented ones gets more matches, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, we'll try to put the suggestion. Any more questions, or we go to the next one? The next one was infrastructure, and the topic was development of infrastructure and how it can be best utilized for football. The moderator was Jonathan D'Souza. Panel members were representative of SG, Dr. Geeta S. Nagwekar. Representative of GFA was the president, Dr. Caetano Fernandez. Representative of ISL club was Ravi Pushkar. And former AIFF General Secretary, Sir Albert Culasso. The finding was infrastructure across the state is poorly maintained. Reasons: lack of funds, lack of skilled manpower. The recommendation is mark higher allotment in sports budget. So the sports budget can be increased a little bit more than what we have at the moment, particularly for maintenance of sports infrastructure. Giving the infrastructure on lease to private entities with a properly defined policy. In our discussion, we came to know that Some of the grounds were given to the panchayats, they had to pay some fees, and the panchayat can lease it out to, not all the grounds are done like that. So if we can define a proper policy where the infrastructure is being used, and the ones who are being used can maintain it also. In Goa, we have infrastructure, but the biggest challenge what we have is the maintenance. So that is what is the finding recommendation what we come out. The next finding is stadiums across the state are available at a high cost, discouraging many clubs. What is the recommendation? Make stadiums and grounds affordable to clubs according to their financial stature, so that clubs can organize matches and train. The third finding was even the big clubs do not have their own infrastructure and have to depend on government-owned stadiums and ground for their matches and activities. The recommendation is some clubs like Cesar Goa, FC Goa, Dempo Sports Club already have infrastructure of their own. Other big clubs should try and invest in infrastructure of its own and do not depend on government for everything. Government can provide help by providing unused grounds for development. If every club has its own facility, the calendar can be out well in advance. But challenge is the ground for the calendar to be out of competition. The next finding is for nearly 4 months during the monsoon, grounds across the state cannot be used. And the recommendation is artificial turf grounds are needed, at least 2 each in north and south, so that competitions can start earlier and not wait for the rains to subside. One, I would like to have it in Ponda. Frankie. Okay? Any questions before we go further on infrastructure?
Coaches, any questions? Center heads?
No questions, Lovejoy? Okay, we can go forward. The last one for the day was about marketing, sponsorship, and fan engagement. The moderator was Rahul Rodriguez. The panel was Yannick Kulaso, Mandar Thamne, and Aditya Datta. And the finding was football is understood, indicating there is massive untapped potential for both clubs and the GFA alike. The recommendations are smart use of social media for smaller clubs which has lower marketing budgets, needs a collective effort from all stakeholders, that is the government, GFDC, GFA and clubs. The focus should be on engaging with the community. Check. The action to be taken are bodies from GFA, GFDC and the football clubs together. The next finding is government support in other states, particularly in the Northeast and Odisha, where the government provides free infrastructure and helps monetarily either directly or facilitating sponsorships. Another example is the Meghalaya government, which has set up 12 full-size artificial turfs, and 12 more are in the pipeline and are available to clubs for use. And the recommendation, government to help football clubs and association through corporate support, possibly pharmaceutical companies, Goa tourism, etc. Next finding is football is undersold, indicating there is massive untapped potential for both clubs and the GFA alike. The recommendation are smart use of social media for smaller clubs. Only one? Sorry. Okay, any questions on marketing? On this last slide and the last topic for the day it was. Anybody, Lovejoy?
Any questions? So I think we can move forward. They don't have
Okay,
questions.
so that's the end of the findings and the recommendations which we will share it with GFDC and GFA to take it forward. I thank each one of you, especially the coaches and the audience who are there here to participate and to discuss and debate. Good questions, and we will try to see these recommendations which we have suggested. As I said, we will share it with GFDC and GFA. Thank you very much.
Well, friends, we shall take a short break, tea break rather. So let's refresh ourselves and come back at 5 o'clock for the closing ceremony. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly take your seats. We are about to commence the closing ceremony of the GFDC Football Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the closing session of the GFDC Football Summit and the presentation of the findings. The Honorable Chief Minister of Goa and the Honorable Sports Minister were very much inclined to be with us today, but due to other commitments, they have conveyed their regrets. We are honored but to have amongst us Shri Digambar Kamath, the Honorable MLA Margao, the former Chief Minister of Goa and the chief guest of today's function. We also have with us Dr. Geeta Nagwekar, the Executive Director of the Sports Authority of Goa, Dr. Caetano Fernandez, the President of the Goa Football Association, Padma Shri and Arjuna Awardee Brahmanan Shankwalkar, Shri Avertan Furtado and Shri Derek Pereira, Vice Chairpersons of the Organizing Committee. I request our guests to kindly take their seats on the dais. Dr. Geeta and Dr. Kaitan, please escort our esteemed guests. Shri Shabir Ali, Dhyanchan Awardee, please be present on the dais. Thank you. To begin with, may I request Dr. Geeta Nagwekar, Executive Director of the Sports Authority of Goa, to address the gathering.
Wishing each one present here a very good evening. Well, let me start by expressing my delight seeing the presence of this august gathering here at this summit closing ceremony. Warmly welcome our chief guest, Honorable MLA of Margao constituency, Shri Digambar Kamath, who has been an inspiration for us and has been promoting various sport disciplines in Goa. The President of Goa Football Association, Dr. Caetano Fernandez, the galaxy of sporting stalwart. Padma Shri and Arjuna Awardee, Shri Brahmanan Shankwalkar. President of AWES, Shri Derek Pereira, Shri Shabir Ali, and all present here, all the sports, extensively experienced sports administrator, sports promoter. As we come to an end of this very absorbing and brainstorming football summit, which has been organized by Goa Football Development Council in association with Goa Football Association, I'm more than certain that all the stakeholders will leave this convention venue with much hope, passion, determination, and spring in our strides to ensure that we have Goa as a powerhouse of Indian football. The various topics which has been covered in yesterday's summit are football coaching, professional clubs, amateur clubs, player perspectives, inter-village football, grassroots, youth football and academics, infrastructure, and marketing, sponsorship, and friend engagement will certainly help endure a bright future for our Goan football. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly request you to rise for a moment of silence in remembrance of Ratan Tata, a pioneer in various fields, and sports was one of them. I request you to kindly be standing for a moment's silence. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. May I request Alicia and Priyanka to present flowers of welcome to our chief guests and dignitaries on the dais. May I now request Shri Digambar Kamath, the Honorable MLA Margao, former Chief Minister of Goa and Chairman of this organizing committee, to kindly address the gathering. Just be seated. We'll just ask for a brief of the presentation and then you can speak. Better. Yes, sir. My apologies. May I request Sri Savio Madeira, the former international footballer and technical director of the Sporting Club de Goa, to present a brief on the findings during the summit.
Thank you, Jenny, and good evening, everybody. We had 8 topics yesterday discussed, and on coaching, the pre and post license period, we have given our recommendations to SAG that they are lacking in a technical director who can take technical decisions for the coaches and as an organization. Under him, we have requested or recommended 2 more assistants, where one can be placed in the north, one can be placed in the south, because there are 35 centers and for one fellow to cover it up is going to be a huge thing. We have also seen that since they have taken over, the refresher courses are not being done for them. So the technical director if we try to take him on board, he should be a pro diploma coach educator. He should be a pro diploma holder and a coach educator, so he can conduct refresher courses for them rather than getting somebody from outside. We have also discussed or recommended that all the coaches regarding their salary, which was not done from 2012, if that can be seen if that can be increased, because it's 12 years what has been done. So that was one of the point which we had discussed. The other point which we had discussed was they were having tournaments, inter-center tournaments before COVID, and all the centers were having, and in the end the finals were played between the talukas. So that is what we asked them if they can revive it back, because they are just training at the moment and not doing anything. Also, GFA and GFDC, if they can get along and see if they can participate in the tournaments where the action will be taken by GFA and GFDC. That is what we have discussed. Also discussed on, this is on the first session, pre and post license period. The second one which we discussed on professional clubs is the clubs had said that the infrastructure, the government infrastructure cost is a little bit more for them at the moment, which they can use. The infrastructure which they have mentioned is much more available in Goa than in the other states. So, but the cost is a little bit more, so which they have requested if that cost can be reduced, especially to clubs promoting football. Then a connect with the club, which the clubs are going to do to get in the fans, which we want to get them. Also, recommendation from professional clubs are to reduce the complimentary tickets, because they take it and none of them try to come for the games. Social media, which we ask the professional clubs to touch on so that they can increase their fans. For matches, if they can be held on weekends, and the timings if they can see, that is what is one which is recommended. And FC Goa has said that not to see them as a ISL club, purely as a commercial club, and try to see that they are also been considered as one of the Goan clubs, because they are running losses at the moment. So that is what has been recommended, and it is there in our findings and recommendations. In amateur clubs, we have discussed and recommended SAG to build at least 2 artificial turf grounds, one in the north and one in the south, with proper facilities of dressing room and sitting capacity. Also, GFDC to tie up with local clubs to provide the necessary financial support. Recommended school headmasters and authorities along with parents to encourage their kids to come out and to tell them that, influence them that practicing sports regularly would be much better. Another recommendation for the amateur club which we can give is for the GFA to keep a hold on registering more clubs, because at a youth level there are teams which are being losing 7-0, 8-0. So at the moment we have asked the clubs, asked GFA if they can stop affiliation and introspect on what is happening, and then only if we can increase the clubs. That was on amateur clubs. We have also recommended that the officials at the clubs have been there for too long and they have been lethargic for some time. If new minds, young generation can be brought in, which would be good. And clubs should be also registering with SAG to avail of the funds which are being there. When it came to players' perspective, the findings or the recommendations are to advise and educate players when they are playing, to see for careers like coaching, refereeing, administration or physical training. There are a lot of government quota which is there, at least 4%, so that we can encourage the retired players to fill up the sports quotas. Awareness of job opportunities in central government institutions like custom and central excise, and to educate players on skill development opportunities which are there to be taken. There was a discussion on inter-village tournaments which are happening, and GFA is going to put their minds together, recommended to GFA that the inter-village matches start on time and to try to see at least a duration of 70 minutes which has to be played. Also, GFA is going to see that players, instead of playing in inter-village tournaments, they are playing in open tournaments and not playing inter-village tournaments. So in the past, GFA has also fined players who are playing in inter-village tournaments and find the clubs, which GFA is again going to take initiative on that. In the inter-village tournaments, one recommendation also is given to village clubs to start inter-ward tournaments where a lot of young players are being missing on this, so they can be seen and encouraged then to play inter-village tournaments. Quality of inter-village matches has dropped, and we have recommended that if senior players or retired players can encourage, motivate and coach the younger generation so that quality of village matches can be improved. In grassroots, youth football and academies, we saw that a lack of competition is there, which hampers the younger age group. So I have more collaboration with all stakeholders to ensure more games and access to facilities which are needed. And revive back the GFDC inter-center tournament which was there pre-COVID, to get it back so that the boys who are practicing at least gets some matches and some competitions there. Age group teams identified, and we have also asked GFA if the youth teams to be prepared much in advance rather than just 1 month in advance before the tournament. So if they can spot talent when the school tournaments are happening, when the youth tournaments are happening, and have a team ready so that they can play, practice at least once in a week, and they are prepared for a longer period of time. The finding one was in grassroots youth football and academies was difficult for clubs to organize competitions since the facilities are expensive. So the recommendation are for free or lower cost for youth teams to conduct youth tournaments. In infrastructure, recommendations are higher allotment in sports budget can be done, which is not enough for the moment. And particularly for maintenance of sports infrastructure, giving infrastructure on lease to private entities with a properly defined policy which is missing at the moment. Also, there was a finding stadiums across the state are available at high cost, discouraging many clubs. So making stadiums and grounds affordable to clubs according to their financial, that clubs can have their matches and use it for training. In infrastructure, again, some recommendations are given. Clubs like Cesar, FC Goa, Dempo are having their own infrastructure, but the rest of the clubs they do not have, and depending too much on government, so that if the other clubs start having their own infrastructure would be good. And one more finding was we have a long monsoon season in Goa, and grounds artificial only are available. So we have only one at the moment at Duler. So recommendation is there if we can have two, one in the north and one in the south, so that it can be used in the monsoons. And in marketing, sponsorship and fan engagement, recommendations are there to use social media for smaller clubs, which is very low at the moment, and it needs a collective effort from all stakeholders, from government, from GFDC, from GFA and the clubs, and the action will be taken by all these organizations. And another finding, the last one, was government support in other states, particularly in Northeast Odisha, where grounds or free infrastructure is provided. If the government can take our recommendation, lower down the costs of the hiring of the stadiums, which will help the clubs to have their trainings and matches. So these were the 8 sessions what we had, sir, yesterday. A day long of debate and trying to come out with findings which will be presented to GFDC and GFA. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Savio. May I request Dr. Caetano to kindly present the findings to Shri Digambar Kamath. Shri Derek Pereira will present the findings to Dr. Geeta Nagwekar. Derek, also please present the findings to Dr. Caetano. May I now request Shri Digambar Kamath, the Honorable MLA Margao, former Chief Minister of Goa and Chairman of the Organizing Committee of the Football Summit, to address the gathering.
We have reached the concluding function of GFDC Football Summit 2024, which was inaugurated at the hands of Sports Minister yesterday. And now we have with us Executive Director of Sports Authority of Goa, Dr. Geeta Nagwekar, Dr. Kaitan Fernandes, GFA President, Derek Pereira, Vice Chairman of the Organizing Committee, Padma Shri Brahmanand Sargaonkar, Vice Chairman of the Organizing Committee, an eminent footballer and coach, Shri Shabir Ali, and friends, football lovers, members of the committees, clubs. I have been discussing with Executive Director of Sports Authority of Goa and also with Dr. Kaitan Fernandes. They have deliberated on various topics. Threadbare discussion has taken place. And they have come out with very good recommendations. I'm sure that these recommendations have to be implemented by the government by heart. There is nothing artificial. If we are really lovers of football, if you want to do something good for the football, then it depends how we start implementing these recommendations. Now here, three people have to play a major role. One is Goa Football Association, one is Goa Football Development Council, and third is Government of Goa, of which Director of Sports, Executive Director of Sports Authority, they are all part of the Government of Goa. See, all three hands come together, then nobody can stop the development of football. This is my sincere opinion. So I was talking to the Executive Director of Sports also. Now they have lots of problems. Main problem starts with infrastructure. Infrastructure, I think Goa, we have lots of infrastructure. We are talking about grounds. There was a time when the department did not know where they have grounds and whether they are maintained or not. I think ample of infrastructure is available. The recommendation says that the cost is more. I think government and GFA can jointly work out in this how grounds can be made available to the sports club, whether it is village clubs or whatever it is, at bare minimum, no profit, no loss basis. You have already acquired. We have already acquired. Government has acquired the land. What is the use of keeping them barren? See, if you want to really help any sports, then you have to, number one, your budget has to be proper. Unless you have a good budget, she will be also helpless. Director of sports also will be helpless. Now you are talking about coaches. I am associated with swimming. I am on the International Bureau of the World Aquatics. And I know how swimming coaches are demanding pace now. So those days are gone when you used to pay them 25,000, 50,000. Their packages are 1,50,000 per month, 1 lakh, 2 lakhs per month. Otherwise, they are not interested in coming. And there is a demand because academies are coming across the globe. In India also, lots of academies. Jindal have started academy, Glenmark has started academy. In Bangalore, there are 2-3 academies have come. One of the best academies have come in Bangalore where they offer best packages to the coaches. So you are going to have a technical director, you are going to have assistant director, which is a good thing. That means you can have control over them. But ultimately, you want good coaches. Then you will have to pay them. Otherwise, good coaches will not come. This is today's situation in the country. For that, we will have to discuss with the government. How? Because I am in touch with them already because of swimming. We are trying to find out some solution. So I will push your case also along with swimming. I'll see that you also, both are benefited in the sense every sports event is benefited. Because today you have to change. Some days back I was in Orissa. There was a swimming national. In fact, for your information, the Swimming Federation of India has a tie-up with Government of Orissa. So Government of Orissa gives Swimming Federation of India 1.5 crores. Their condition is 2 international events should be conducted in the state of Orissa, which we are conducting. But their budget, I had an interaction of meeting Mr. Pandian, who was the main man behind Orissa sports development. In one meeting with us, on the spot, he took a decision. I am giving you 1.5 crores. That sort of this is required. If you see where Orissa has reached, what was Orissa some years back, and where Orissa has reached today. I was present just few days back. I had gone to meet the Chief Minister and the Sports Minister. Recently, they have inaugurated air-conditioned badminton indoor stadium. Air-conditioned badminton indoor stadium with 8 courts. Swimming pool complex, totally air-conditioned. So this is the infrastructure Orissa has got today, which I have seen with my own eyes. So one thing for any sports to come up, one is infrastructure. Infrastructure, good quality infrastructure has to be there. Your ground has to be good, laid well. You can't expect them to play on some rough surface and break their legs and all like that. This is one thing. Second is technical aspect means coaches. If you want good players to come up, state to come up, then you must have good coaches. At least few coaches you must get excellent, if required, by paying some more money to them. Then there are some other issues which I heard while giving presentations. I think all the issues there is a solution for each and every issue. I'm very positive. There is a very, recommendations are quite good as per my knowledge and they can be implemented. Only thing, we will have to make a collective. We'll talk to the Chief Minister. I'll fix up a meeting with Chief Minister, Sports Minister. We'll discuss. Together we can discuss. And we'll try to come out. If we are not able to implement all the suggestions at a time, let us divide it into phases. So in the first phase, priority. These are the implementation. These are the things which have to be implemented within 6 months. Something like that. But that result has to come. Otherwise, holding the summit will have no meaning. So you prepare. I would suggest after going through deliberation, we can have a joint meeting. At least identify within 6 months which are the recommendations can be implemented without any this. Then next stage, second phase, like that if we can do, I think we will definitely do much better. Your aspirations of the people of Goa, when they think about football, I think we should be able to convince them that we are really serious and we mean business. We want by heart football to come up. I am there with you for whatever purpose, whenever you require me, I am there. Because as I had told, I'm not a football player as such, but I have love for football, having played football during childhood. So I think in Goa, each and everyone, when he first comes on the ground, he plays football. Then he might opt for any other sports. But there is nobody who will say that he has not played football. And that is why football is the state sports as far as we are concerned. And you must see that we again get that glorious days back so that we can really be said that Goa is back in the picture. So with this, I thank all of you, especially I thank Kaitan and my friend Albert, who have taken initiative. It's basically, somebody has to take initiative. They have taken initiative. They have made lots of efforts, and this has really come true. Initially, it was I was very apprehensive whether it will come true or not, but subsequently it has come true, and you have really come out with good suggestions, good recommendations. I assure you that we will try to see that each and every recommendation is implemented by hook or crook. This is my commitment to you. And whenever you want, you can call me. I can come with you. I can discuss with anybody. There is no problem. And from my side also, whatever help I can give you, I will help you. Thank you, and thanks for all the support.
Thank you, sir, for your unwavering support. Sir, these are draft recommendations. We have received several suggestions during the deliberations, which will be incorporated after meeting along with you as chairperson of this organizing committee. And then we shall present the final findings to the Honorable Chief Minister and the Honorable Minister for Sports. May I request Dr. Caetano Fernandez, the President of the Goa Football Association and our Vice Chairman, to kindly present souvenirs to our guests on the dais. Souvenir to to Shri Digambar. Dr. Geeta. To Mr. Shabir Ali. To Padma Shri Brahmanan Shankwalkar. To Mr. Derek Pereira. Mr. Derek, kindly present a souvenir to Dr. Caetano. Thank you. And now may I request Dr. Caetano Fernandez, President of the Goa Football Association, to thank all our esteemed invitees who have supported us during this 2-day summit and ensure that the summit is a success.
Good evening, everyone. Today's closing ceremony function, our chief guest, Honorable MLA Margaon Constituency, Digambar Sir, Dr. Geeta Nagvekar, Shabir Ali, Brahmanan, and Mr. Derek. On behalf of Goa Football Council, Goa Football Association, and Government of Goa and Oz, I would like to thank our Honorable Chief Minister, Dr. Pramod Sawant, for supporting this football summit. My sincerest thanks to Honorable Sports Minister, Mr. Govind Gowde, for his support to making this summit happen. My profound thanks to Honorable MLA of Margaon and Organizing Committee Chairperson of this summit, Sri Digambar Kamaji, for leading us in the right direction and helping us with the organizing of this important summit. So we are thankful to you. We have disturbed you almost 10 times. We want to conduct this seminar, and whenever we call you, you was available. Thank you for your prestigious time, sir. A special thanks to Sports Secretary Mrs. Shwetika Sachan Again, Dr. Geeta Nagvekar, Director of SCG and Member Secretary of GFDC. Madam, thank you very much for all your support. Mr. Arvind Kutkar, Director of DSYA, and GFDC staff, entire GFDC staff, thank you very much for all your support. And my press, media friends, this event has been highly successful in terms of gaining valuable insight in the problem faced by the state sports of Goa. Goan football has been on a decline since the last year, so many years. Although there have been high-like performance of the state team in Santosh Trophy last year, the qualification of a Dempo SC in I-League this season, there are still unpaired problems prevailing that have been addressed in this summit. We hope that the recommendation of the summit are taken seriously by implementing agency, and we hope to see change in coming months. Finally, I would like to say big thank to Association for Well-Being and Elder Sportsperson, and particularly Mr. Albert Culasso, who has conceptualized this summit and has been instrumental of a success of this event. Thank you very much, sir. In this event, was a long overdue, and I am happy that all football stakeholders could convey this in the cover and come together in one place and discuss issue facing Goan football stakeholder. I would like to announce one thing. Sir, with your support, with government support, we GFA and FC Goa, after this summit, we come together and we decided that ISL matches will be 50 rupees per match in coming match. This is a minimum ticket available will be for all ISL matches henceforth from next matches. Whatever government tension kitne decision घेऊंगी, but we have come together, FC Goa and we thank FC Goa CEO Ravi Pushkaran and entire his team. Thank you, Ravi. And I hope this event makes a beginning of the new era in the Goan football, where the football ecosystem thrives with the support of the clubs, government and fans. Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Kaitan. A question for Ravi Pushkar. Is it the reduction in the 20% complimentary, and that's why the rate has come down? Okay. Yes, Dr. Kaitan says no complimentary. Ladies and gentlemen, we really thank you for your inputs during the summit days yesterday and the deliberations today. We now request you to please join us for refreshments in the adjoining hall, and we wish to continue having your support whenever we have such program. Yeah. We are a little bit early. The refreshments are being set up. So if there are any questions to the current panel over here, the VIPs, the forum is open for the GFDC coaches if they would like to present any questions to our VVIPs here. Franklin, the mics can be given.
Check. Check. Test.
Hello. So this question goes to all the dignitaries and the panel members and the government officials. So since we had this fruitful summit and you all came with so many findings, what is the benchmark set? Like how can we know that the summit has been fruitful? What is the result that we are hoping for? And what is the time that is set? Like
time bar we are setting for the recommendations to be implemented.
As you must have heard, the Honorable MLA sir had said, like we have to take it in the phases wise. So we'll see like which are the recommendations, suggestions which has been given, because the various different topics has been spoken, around 8 different topics. So we'll see like which has to be taken on the priority wise. We'll divide into the phases which are required to be taken, and we'll try to within 6 months we'll try to implement.
Agreed, but still, what is something that we should hope from the summit? Like, for example, I would say like a player who is playing right now under 13, after all these implementations, maybe in 5 years he has to reach under 13. So maybe in another 5 or 6, 8 years he has to be in an ISL or at least be in the India camp. So is this something we can hope for?
Yes, of course. I would say as we are trying to tie up with the other clubs also as well. Maybe like we are trying to club with JFA also. So whoever the grassroots trainees which are there under JFDC, so they can be able to play in the future also as well.
Yes, but still I want to know what is the count that you can give us? Like,
I will say this again, the 6 months. See, we are trying to do our best. Certain things, some procedures also will take some time. It cannot be done within the 1 day changes. So it will take some time for us. I will say another 6 months also for this.
yes, I'm again not on a time frame basis, but I want to know the count of how many kids we can expect in an Indian national team, maybe in the underage itself, from GFDC.
I will say, yeah. Now, of course, I will say I want everybody to be there. If you're asking me so, I will not have the count of 1, 2, 5 or 10 also. I will say more than 1,000 also as well.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, sir. This is for the Honorable MLA, Shri Digambar Kamant, and Member Secretary, Ms. Geeta. I come from a village of Sholim. And in the past, Sholim has really produced many players who went and represented for the nationals and all. And we have 5 schools and a higher secondary plus government schools. But we don't have a village playground till date. Though you are an MLA from a different constituency, but you're being a senior member in the assembly, I hope you will recommend this to the government or to our MLA. We have made a representation to her, but still, with your support, at least see that Sholim gets a ground, a village playground for the schools at least. Not a single school has a ground. Thank you.
There is absolutely no ground. No, I'm not talking about school grounds.
It's a private ground.
Is there any ground available for the children to play?
It's a private ground, sir.
Private ground.
Yeah.
Church ground?
Church
Ground is. Okay, anyway, I will talk to the local MLA, Delilah Lobo. I'll request her to identify some place and move for, put up a proposal for the ground.
Yes, thank you.
In Azagaon, one ground is being constructed, according to her.
Yeah, that is the Asagaon, sir.
Yeah.
Sholim has 3 panchayats, sir.
Azagaon is one panchayat.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, I also come from the Shiolim. I'm very much aware about the Shiolim issues also. And I'm also being a Soyampurna Mitra in the Sodium Panchayat. As you said, there are 3 panchayats which are there. One is Marna, Oshal and the Sodium. I belong to the Sodium Panchayat Soyampurna Mitra. I'm aware about this. Many people had come asking for the grounds. So we are trying to work on that. I think we had identified also place last time. One of the school is having a big ground. It's like a place is there, property which is there, which has to be developed. Maybe we can convert it into any playing ground maybe. And I know like you are from the Shiolim Center. Like I had seen your reports. I think you are having more number of trainees and you are doing very well in the this.
You have an advantage. She hails from Shiolim.
ideas, no, with Sir Albert. You can just talk to him.
Get it for me, some maybe like whatever this same findings what are there, that only I want. Just I'll take photos at least and give.
Just speak to come. Let's come.
Okay.
Sir, he wanted this finding so that he can draft everything.
Can't give it. No.
Can't give.
Lot of suggestions.
Keep this file.
Thank you very much. What is that?